I am alive and it's good to be alive, and oh my god, everyone, I have good news. Everyone's favorite tentacle monster Warframe finally got a rework. Yay! Yeah, I know, after all this time. Now look, I know I've been really mean to Hydroid in the past, and I've joked way too many times about the fact that he is tremendously ugly and the fact that he looks like balls, but moving on. So before I show you what I have on my Hydroid loadout, I want to show you what's new with Hydroid. I'm not going to be focusing on the damage integers as much as I am just what's new that you couldn't do before. So two of his powers now, his first and his fourth power, can now be charged, which will not only increase the duration for some of them, but also increase the explosion radius. So for his first ability, son of a bitch, why is it not charging? Normally you can charge this power, and obviously as you can see here, it calls down a barrage of rain, which is pretty cool. It deals blast damage, thus knocking enemies down, which is pretty nice. So the new thing with that is that you can charge it, which will increase its duration and also increase the blast radius of its projectiles, causing it to feel like it's causing much more damage in a much larger area. His second power is, still not the greatest, but the fact that it doesn't take your energy color anymore, for the most part, is really nice. Like, I love that all his powers now just actually look like water. So I feel like it helps it look way less ugly and kind of cool. So this will ragdoll and push enemies. Nothing really too new with that. But what's really nice about it is that you can now use it while you are in his puddle form. Yes, so you are not just a useless puddle of piss, you can be a very active puddle of piss. Oh joy. So what's nice about this is that aside from the fact that you can move around a tiny bit in the puddle now while draining extra energy, you can just use your second ability to get around as well, which is pretty nice. It's also cool because you can activate your puddle in the middle of the wave, so that you can end it early, because if you have hydration like I do, your wave likely goes way further than you would like it to. I mean, like, what the hell? I'm not trying to surf a damn tsunami. I just want to knock some shit over. Which brings me to his next power, which does percent-based damage, which is really nice. The puddle. So what's cool about this, one of my favorite additions, being able to move in the puddle is meh. I mean, look how fucking... It's just too slow for me. I don't care, though it is nice. But the main thing that I enjoy, as you can see there, is if you press the right trigger or the shoot button, you can actually grab enemies and fucking snag them into your pawn. This obviously depends on your power range, but I actually really like that, because that way, I don't know, it's entertaining. Like, if you've ever done it in a really long hallway where the enemy is forced to travel through it, it allows you to just grab the shit out of people, because sometimes what will happen is the dead bodies will cause the enemy to not want to walk into your puddle, because they'll be very cautious. That allows you to pull them. So you can just be like, fuck you, get over here, blah! What's also nice about his third power is that you can now cast other powers while you are in it, not just your tidal surge. So you'll notice I can cast my first power, which is really cool because that can actually hit enemies in your puddle. So you can essentially trap people, and you can just call in a fucking barrage on them to fuck them up if you want to. And last but not least, the best power Hydroid has, in my personal opinion, it's just so much fun, is Tentacle Swarm. So now you get this nice visual little Kraken, even though he's sticking one of his own tentacles in his mouth. It just shows up for a little bit, and then it kind of goes back underground. But, you know, it's really just a visual thing more with the Kraken head, but I like it. It just kind of makes it feel more like you're actually summoning a Kraken, you know, like a creature, and it just goes and then it hides and uses its tentacles. I don't know, it's just more fun for my imagination. I think it's really cool. Again, like I said, I now feel like I'm actually summoning some kind of like sea monster to attack people and shit, and that makes me pretty happy. Instead of all these weirdly colored, depending on my energy, fucking juice tentacles. I don't know what a juice tentacle is, but I don't imagine I'd have too much fun with it. So what's cool about this ultimate is he can now instantly cast it, and what I love is you'll see that glowing area. That's the area of effect that the power is going to have. So you'll see my tentacles really pretty much only spawned in that area. His first power is supposed to do the same thing. As you're charging it, you'll be able to see a glowing area, but it's just not working in the simulacrum. Apologies for that. But here's the cool thing, you can also charge his ultimate, which increases the number of tentacles and also the range at which they will spawn. So as you can see here, you get a much larger range, and boom! Holy shit, hang on, can we... oh, I'm pretty sure I missed. Oh shit, that guy got fucked up though. That was awesome. Oh man. Alright, so before I show you this too much on enemies, which I am definitely going to do, I want to get into some more technical aspects of it. So what's cool about this is I found out some intricate little things. So if you actually cast the ability from in your puddle, it increases the tentacle's damage by 200%. So you're going to be dealing about triple the damage, which is really, really cool. I honestly have nothing bad to say about his powers now. I mean, like, it's not the greatest thing ever, and it's not crazy high damaging. I even have a blind rage, and I can get him to deal almost 1,000 damage if I cast from my puddle, which isn't too bad. But here's the cool thing. If you cast from your puddle with a fully charged casted ultimate, so if you hold the power down until it automatically casts, it increases the likelihood of tentacles to spawn outside the radius of your puddle, is essentially what it'll do. And obviously give you that same benefit of having more tentacles. I mean, look at that. So this is really fun. I actually really enjoyed this mechanic more than I thought I would. Not just for the damage, but I always wanted to cover more area with my tentacles, but then I realized sometimes it's less effective because you're not getting more tentacles when you increase your range. You're spreading the same amount of tentacles over a larger area. So sometimes if you're in a tight hallway, like let's say this is a hallway, it allows you to just do a much better job at focusing purely on locking down that hallway. I mean, look at that. Anybody that walks through that is going to get totally wrecked. What else is a bit fascinating is I found out that upon first spawning and upon despawning, I believe Hydroid's tentacles deal a large amount of magnetic damage. And here's the cool thing about how the tentacles spawn. So basically they'll spawn within your power's radius, obviously, but if there are enemies within the power radius, they are much more likely to spawn under an enemy. The game will prioritize it, in fact. So if you see, we got two guys down there. If I get both of them in my power radius, which I'll try to do, it's pretty much, holy shit, oh, there's way more guys there than I thought there would be. Whee! So long, suckers! But yeah, so it pretty much guarantees, oh, and now you have a sad tentacle. His plaything is dead. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. So yeah, it's pretty much guaranteed that if an enemy is within the radius upon casting, it's pretty much always going to spawn under them, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about it trying to grab them from the get-go. And also what's cool is they did improve the tentacle AI, so it does a much better job at grabbing enemies, which I have noticed for sure. Hey, hang on, I gotta see that one more time. That was great. Where are you guys going? Oh, can you touch the ceiling? Oh, shit, I think I got pretty close though. Bye! Oh, and something I actually forgot to mention. When you enter puddle form, if you look at the top right, you'll notice that your health and shield bar turns gray. That means you cannot receive damage. You are essentially invulnerable. And I actually really enjoy that as well because I got set on fire by a really high level napalm, and then I just went into my puddle and the fire didn't even faze me. Really nice. It's really cool for getting out of, you know, tough situations where you're more than likely going to die quickly. And if you stack that with the rejuvenation, which I do have on my Hydroid, it is super helpful because it allows you to heal yourself while you're down here. You can put on the Mending Tide or Curative Undertow. I forget which one it's called. There's a mod that essentially allows you to heal yourself and allies in the puddle, but at the additional cost of energy, which I didn't think was a good idea for me considering I have Blind Rage on. So now let me show you what I actually have on my Hydroid. I really like this build. I'm going to show you some gameplay of it after I show you this. I have Rejuvenation, Prime Continuity, Redirection and Vitality, Blind Rage, Pilfering Swarm, Intensify, Streamline, and Prime Flow. Prime Flow because Hydroid's he's got a similar problem, if not worse, than Oberon. In the sense that they are better, but they're very energy intensive now. Like, oh, you can cast your X button and all your other powers while you're in your puddle. Well, while you're in your puddle, you're draining energy and you're not getting it back. And Hydroid's not the tankiest Warframe in the game. He's got high shield and health. He had okay armor, but yeah, you're going to want to rely on your crowd control for survival. So you're constantly having to cast your first power and your ultimate and maybe your puddle every now and then to escape the really hard hitting damage. And so I have Prime Flow. I find that it counteracts the problem really well, especially if you have Pilfering Swarm, because that adds a 100% chance to get additional loot from additional chance to get extra Fruit Loops. Oh man, what if, oh, it's too bad it's not your energy color anymore. I could have done white, made it like milk. I am the milk frame. Although tentacles and milk probably shouldn't go together. You dirty ones know what I'm talking about. But yeah, 100% chance to gain additional loot from enemies, which is nice because sometimes it will spawn energy orbs, which just makes it even easier to maintain. So this gets me 155% power duration, 75% efficiency, 100% range, 229% power strength. I used to upgrade range on Hydroid. I don't really find it that helpful anymore. The fact that I can charge his ult to have quite a bit of range, to be honest, and like I said, you're kind of spreading the same amount of damage and effectiveness, but over a wider area, and you're spreading it out. You're splitting it up. So I kind of enjoy just his regular power range now. Keeps things tight enough that you can really concentrate some damage if you need to. So overall, what do I think of the Hydroid rework? I think it's really cool, honestly, because I was always the person that's kind of like fascinated by water elementals in games, you know, when it's like, oh, fire and water and earth, like which one are you going to choose? I always thought water was really cool just because I think the ocean is really fascinating and aquatic life that lives in it. I think it's just like totally out of this world and just fascinates me. So I really like water elementals, and when I first got Hydroid back in the day, I was super disappointed. Like, I thought his powers were cool. I'm like, oh, he summons a tentacle swarm and he calls in a meteor rain, and you know, back when I didn't know any better, but then like I you know, get better at the game and I learn more and I start utilizing other frames, and I'm like, man, it's really hard for me to enjoy Hydroid. Like, his tentacles half the time, I'd see enemies just walk on past through him, and the tentacles wouldn't fucking touch him. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we got a clusterfuck of tentacles in this hallway, and that guy's like, nope, you ain't touching me. Also, his abilities just didn't feel like they dealt very much damage. People would argue that his puddle was his best ability, which is, I mean, it's nice, I guess, but again, I didn't have a very high damaging build, so when I stuck him under the puddle, it really just kind of like, it'd just be faster to kill him with something else. Oh, I'm grouping them up for my teammates. Dude, me and my friends, at least that I play with, we got strong enough shit to kill them anyways, so it wasn't terribly helpful. It is kind of cool now, though, because you can pull people into it, which makes it much easier to, especially since you can move as the puddle, you can actually grab targets into it and then focus them into a group and then immediately leave the puddle. So I feel like to suck people in and cluster a group of enemies for my teammates to deal more effective damage, I don't have to be in the puddle as long as you used to. You used to have to just sit there for fucking ever and just wait and hope that people would walk into it, and I'd have to sit there forever because, you know, it would take forever to get just like 7 guys in the puddle. Anyways, enough about fucking puddles! But yeah, I really like Hydroid now. He's cool. He's still not as good as I would like him to be. I wish that like his corrosive barrage was passive. I know that would be way too OP. I don't know, but you know what? He's got good synergy now. He's pretty cool to play as. I wish he wasn't so energy intensive, very energy intensive all the time. But like I said, Pilfering Swarm is going to help with that, so you definitely want that in my opinion. I think it's really fun. Honestly, I'm just all for steps in the right direction. I understand that he did get another damage buff, I think, on PC, which I do not have yet. I'm not even going to talk about that because I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it's way too fucking OP, and the devs are going to nerf it back, and so, whatever. I just wanted to focus on the gameplay aspects of Hydroid. I think he's fun now. He's definitely fun. Like, I've been going back playing as him in survivals and stuff like that, and it's cool. It's nice. Like, I'm not as hyped for it because, you know, I've been playing for a long time, but had I gotten Hydroid and he was like this from the get-go, I think I would have had way more fun playing as him, and it wouldn't have ruined him as much for me, but I'm definitely enjoying him right now. So yeah, I have zero complaints with this. It's just completely a step in the right direction. I was worried that he wasn't even going to get a rework, because I know Hydroid Prime is coming out at the end of the month, and DE hadn't said anything about a rework, and I'm like, oh my god, like, please rework him, like, he sucks right now. And if you liked Hydroid, that's not to trash talk on you. You know, it's just, most of us thought he sucked. But yeah, for those of you who don't know how to get Hydroid, you get him from Counselor Vehek. Oh boy, your favorite boss fight ever. I have a great video explaining how to kill him, so I will have a link for that down in the description below. And as always, thank you guys so much for checking out my video. I love it when you guys give me feedback. My wife just walked in. You ruined it! Just kidding. No, you brightened it with your beauty and glory. Thank you, wife, for totally distracting me. Anyways, I hope you guys have a kick-ass day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!